You sleep in fresh sheets, you scrub your floors. But inside the average Texas bedroom, over 10 million dust mites are still feasting through the night, dumping clouds of invisible waste that trigger morning congestion and mystery allergies, no matter how clean you think you are. Dust storms, relentless humidity, even your air conditioning, all fuel what experts now call the perfect infestation, one that standard cleaning cannot touch. Why has no one warned Texas families about the true scale or the hidden danger lurking in every home? The answers begin where your symptoms start. The sun is barely up in Houston, but the day is already in motion. A mother rubs her eyes, reaching for tissues before her feet touch the floor. Her son shuffles down the hallway, sniffling, blaming the air conditioning for his stuffy nose. In the kitchen, her husband clears his throat again and again, convinced it is just another bad allergy morning. The youngest, a toddler, scratches at her arms while waiting for breakfast, her skin marked by tiny red patches that seem to appear overnight. No one mentions dust. No one suspects the mattress or the pile of favorite stuffed animals next to the bed. These are just the routines of a Texas morning. Windows closed against the outside heat, the air conditioning humming, everyone reaching for antihistamines as if it is part of the daily ritual. The family talks about pollen, maybe the dog, maybe the city's endless construction dust. But the real cause slips by unnoticed, too small to see and too familiar to question. The mother washes sheets more often, but the congestion lingers. The father tries a new air filter, but the morning headaches persist. The boy's cough grows worse after sleepovers, and the toddler's rashes flare up most after naps. Every attempt to find relief leads back to the same question. Why does it always feel like allergy season inside their own home? In bedrooms across Texas, these quiet complaints echo, unexplained, unending, woven into the fabric of daily life. Inside every Texas home, dust mites are hard at work, but not in ways most people imagine. Each mite produces about 20 microscopic waste particles every day. These particles are so light they drift easily through the air, landing on pillows, bedding, and even inside the lungs and nasal passages of anyone nearby. For people with sensitive immune systems, these invisible fragments become a daily threat. According to Dr. Sheila Patel, a board-certified allergist in Dallas, the body treats dust mite waste as a dangerous invader. The immune system releases IgE antibodies, which trigger the release of histamines and other chemicals meant to fight off infection. The result is a wave of symptoms: sneezing, runny nose, itchy eyes, morning congestion, and sometimes even asthma attacks. In children, this reaction can appear as eczema or unexplained skin rashes, especially after sleep. What makes dust mite allergens so difficult to avoid is their size. Each particle is less than 5 microns across, small enough to bypass most air filters and settle deep in the lungs. Even a single gram of bedroom dust can contain hundreds of thousands of allergen particles, enough to provoke symptoms in anyone with a tendency toward allergies. The reality is that these reactions are not caused by pollen, pets, or outdoor pollution, but by the steady accumulation of mite waste in the places Texans feel safest, their own beds and living rooms. The science leaves little doubt. For millions across the state, the real allergy season never ends. Texas stretches from the muggy Gulf Coast to the windswept plains of the West, and every region shapes how dust and moisture move through a home. Along the Gulf, the air hangs heavy even before sunrise. Humidity rarely drops below 50%, and in cities like Houston or Galveston, it often climbs much higher. This moisture seeps indoors, clinging to walls, carpets, and mattresses. For dust mites, these conditions are a constant invitation. They thrive when the air is damp, multiplying in bedding and upholstery where human skin flakes collect. Even a few hours above 50% humidity each day is enough to keep colonies alive and growing. In these coastal homes, it doesn't matter if the air conditioning runs all summer. The outside moisture finds its way in, and indoor humidity lingers, especially at night when windows stay shut and families breathe and sweat under blankets. In central Texas, the climate shifts. Austin and San Antonio see humidity swing with the seasons, but spring storms and muggy summers still create long stretches where indoor air stays moist. Showers, cooking, and even drying laundry indoors all add to the problem, spiking humidity in bedrooms and bathrooms. Without dehumidifiers or constant ventilation, these moments become breeding windows for mites. Bedrooms, where people spend a third of their lives, are the epicenter. Warmth from bodies, moisture from breath, and layers of fabric combine to create a perfect microclimate just beneath the sheets. Traveling west, the landscape dries out. In Lubbock and El Paso, dust storms sweep across the plains, turning the sky orange and covering everything in a fine layer of grit. These storms push outdoor particles into homes, slipping through cracks and riding on the wind. While the air is too dry for dust mites to flourish, the dust itself is relentless. It settles on furniture and carpets, mixing with the few skin flakes that mites might find. Here, the battle is different. The main threat is not from living mites, but from the constant cloud of particulates that irritate lungs and eyes. Air conditioning and sealed windows keep out some of the storm, but also trap whatever gets inside, making it harder for homes to clear out allergens. Every region in Texas brings its own challenge. Along the Gulf, moisture is the lifeblood of dust mite colonies. In the West, it is the endless dust, swirling through homes and settling deep in fabrics. No matter where you live, the climate outside shapes what happens inside, setting the stage for what lingers in the air and what settles in the places families rest. The diversity of Texas weather means that every home faces a unique mix of invisible threats, driven by forces that begin far beyond the front door. Air conditioning units cycle on across Texas before breakfast, pulling air through sealed hallways and closed doors. Modern homes, built for efficiency, trap cooled air inside and keep the summer heat out. But this closed system does more than save on energy bills. It creates a perfect environment for dust mites to multiply. Recirculated air means the same particles, allergens, and microscopic creatures move from room to room, day after day. Every breath, every movement on a mattress, every shake of a blanket stirs up clouds of dust too small to see, but packed with living mites and their waste. Dr. Sheila Patel, who treats allergy patients in Dallas, points to a study from the University of Texas Medical Branch in Galveston. Researchers collected dust samples from homes across the state and found a staggering figure, more than 500 dust mites per gram of dust in the average Texas bedroom. That is 5 times the level known to trigger allergic reactions. And these are not just one kind of mite. Texas homes host a mix. Dermatophagoides farini, the American house dust mite, Dermatophagoides pterinicinus, its European cousin, and subtropical species like Blomia tropicalis in coastal areas. In fact, over 80% of tested homes contained at least 2 species living side by side, each thriving on the steady supply of skin flakes and moisture. Inside the sealed envelope of a house, air conditioning does more than cool. It pulls in outside air, but mostly recirculates what is already inside, along with whatever is floating in it. As the air conditioning runs, it lowers the temperature but rarely drops the humidity enough to harm mites. Instead, it spreads their waste and body fragments through vents, settling them on every surface. Bedrooms, with their heavy fabrics and limited ventilation, become hotspots. Even in living rooms, carpets and couches collect dust that circulates with every step or gust from a fan. In bathrooms and attics, moisture from showers or poor ventilation can spike humidity levels, giving mites new places to colonize. The impact is not just theoretical. In the University of Texas Medical Branch study, only a handful of homes tested below the sensitivity threshold of 100 mites per gram. Most had 5 times that amount, and some even more. For families with allergies or asthma, this invisible load moves from room to room every time the air conditioning kicks in. The diversity of mite species means allergens are present in nearly every corner, making it nearly impossible to escape exposure by simply moving to another part of the house. The mechanics of modern living, sealed construction, recirculating air, and soft furnishings have turned Texas homes into amplifiers for dust mite exposure. The same features that keep out the heat and dust storms also trap humidity and allergens inside, creating a year-round cycle that cleaning alone cannot break. The result is a hidden ecosystem, thriving just out of sight and magnified by the very systems meant to provide comfort. A standard vacuum roars to life in a Houston living room, its nozzle tracing lines across the carpet. The sound is familiar, but what happens next is anything but routine. As the vacuum passes, a hidden cloud of dust mite waste and fragments erupts into the air. Studies measuring air quality before and after vacuuming reveal a startling pattern. Allergen levels spike by 30 to 100 times within minutes. Instead of removing the threat, the machine exhaust blasts microscopic particles, each loaded with proteins known to trigger asthma and allergies, straight into the breathing zone. Dr. Luis Mendoza, an HVAC specialist with 2 decades of experience in Texas homes, explains that the particles are so small that most vacuums simply cannot contain them. People think they are cleaning, but they are actually making things worse for the next hour or two. The dust just hangs in the air, invisible and everywhere. This surge is not just theory. Airborne allergen monitors placed beside the vacuum show a dramatic jump, peaking at levels that can provoke symptoms in even those without a history of allergies. The effect is strongest in rooms with carpets, mattresses, and heavy upholstery, precisely where dust mites nest and where families spend the most time. For children playing on the floor or anyone lounging on the couch, the risk is immediate. Standard cleaning routines, trusted for generations, end up turning a hidden problem into an airborne assault. The real surprise comes when the vacuum is switched off. The dust settles slowly, and the mite eggs left behind remain untouched, ready to hatch days later. For millions of Texans, the very act of cleaning can unleash a wave of allergens far greater than anything lurking on the surface. Mite eggs are nearly impossible to see, but their impact is felt long after a cleaning spree ends. Each egg, tucked deep within mattress seams or the folds of a favorite blanket, can survive most household cleaning routines. In a humid Texas bedroom, these eggs hatch within 3 to 4 days, releasing a new generation ready to feed and multiply. Moisture-based cleaners, often advertised as the answer to deep cleaning, can make things worse. By raising humidity in carpets and upholstery, they create the perfect conditions for eggs to hatch and colonies to rebound. Products on store shelves promise relief. Labels claim hypoallergenic or dust mite resistant, but few offer details on how they perform in the relentless Texas climate. The fine print rarely explains that unless bedding and mattresses are sealed or humidity is kept below 50%, mites will return within days. Even so-called anti-mite sprays and powders have little effect on the eggs themselves. Research shows that eggs resist most chemicals and heat treatments, biding their time until the environment is right. The silence goes deeper than product marketing. Texas health agencies offer no clear guidance tailored to the state's unique mix of humidity and dust. While national organizations issue broad recommendations, there are no Texas-specific protocols for dust mite control, leaving families to navigate a maze of partial solutions and empty promises. The result is a cycle of frustration: clean, react, repeat, while the real problem remains hidden in policy blind spots and the fine print of household cleaners. For Texans seeking relief, the question remains, where is the guidance that actually works for their homes? A remediation specialist lays out the first steps for reclaiming a bedroom from dust mites, starting with the bed itself. The most important change is to seal the mattress and pillows with covers that have pores smaller than 5 microns, fine enough to block even the tiniest mite or allergen. These zippered encasements act as a barrier, cutting off the mite's access to food and moisture. For families in Texas, where humidity lingers, this simple step can reduce surface allergens by more than 90% within weeks. Next, all bedding, sheets, pillowcases, and blankets go straight into the wash. Ordinary cycles will not do the job. The water must reach at least 130 degrees Fahrenheit to kill both mites and their eggs. Anything that cannot handle that heat, like favorite stuffed animals, spends a night in the freezer instead. These actions, taken in the first 24 hours, start to break the cycle the mites rely on. By blocking entry and removing what is already there, families can see a real difference before tackling the next challenge, controlling the moisture that keeps mites alive. Maintaining a dust mite-safe home in Texas means more than a quick fix. It requires steady habits and the right tools. The most important number to remember is 35 to 50%. That is the target range for indoor relative humidity, and it is the threshold that keeps dust mites from thriving. In coastal cities like Houston, where outdoor air is often thick with moisture, a dehumidifier becomes just as essential as the air conditioner. For homes further inland, humidity can spike after showers, cooking, or even a rainy day, so a digital hygrometer helps track the numbers room by room. When the display hits 50% or higher, it is time to run the dehumidifier until the air dries out. Air quality depends on more than moisture. A vacuum equipped with a true HEPA filter is the only way to capture the tiny particles that trigger allergens. HEPA filters trap at least 99.97% of particles as small as 0.3 microns, enough to catch dust mite waste and fragments before they can circulate again. Weekly vacuuming of carpets, rugs, and upholstery with a sealed HEPA unit, paired with regular laundering and encasement use, builds a system that starves mites of what they need to survive. The real change comes over time. 6 months of consistent humidity control and HEPA cleaning can drop allergen levels by more than 90%, according to allergy specialists. Day by day, the invisible threat fades. With vigilance and the right routine, families can reclaim their bedrooms and their mornings from the cycle of congestion and irritation that once felt impossible to escape. Texas homes remain a perfect breeding ground for dust mites, with humidity and climate pushing allergen levels above global health thresholds. For millions, this isn't just discomfort, it's a daily, invisible health risk. Until our habits and home designs reflect the science, those microscopic creatures shape how we breathe, sleep, and live. The smallest threats often hide in plain sight. Share your thoughts below. How will you rethink your home?